Welcome to our lesson on subtracting decimals. Before we start, I want to remind you that anything I'm writing down, you should be writing down using pencil on your notes page as well. All right, let's go ahead and look at the question. It says 4/10 minus 6/100. If we sketch that out, there are 10 rows going across this way, so we're going to shade in 4 of them, 4/10. So that's 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, and then 4/10. Takeaway minus 6/100. Now minus or takeaway literally means we're going to take off 6 of those hundredths. So we would erase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're left with our answer. So this would be 1, 2, 3/10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that our answer is 34 hundredths, just based on our picture, but we need to know how to do this mathematically. So our algorithm or steps are almost identical to when we add. The first thing that we do is write out the first number. Then we write out our subtraction sign. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to align our decimal places. So, whoops, sorry about that. I've got one decimal here, and so the other decimal has to go right below it. So it's going to say 0 and 6/100. Now, this looks a little funny because we're missing something up in the top right-hand corner. So what we need to do is we need to annex a 0. We need to add a 0 in there as a placeholder. All right, and then we start subtracting. So we actually can't do 0 minus 6. So what we need to do is we need to borrow or regroup from the neighbor right next door. So that 4 is going to become a 3. And what that means is we had 4/10, and now we're going to look at it as 3/10, and then that last row of tenths we're going to look at as 10/100. So we didn't actually change the number, we're just changing the way that we look at it. 10 minus 6 is 4. 3 minus 0 is 3. And then we drop down our decimal, and 0 minus 0 is 0. So mathematically, we just proved our answer. All right, on to the next question, which is 89 and 9/10 minus 46 and 78/100. So again, first step, I'm just going to set up my problem. I'm going to set up my subtraction symbol. And then I know that my decimal place has to go right here, and I want each of my numbers to align. So it's going to say 46 and 78/100. Now again, we have nothing up here. We're missing something. There's no number there, which means 0, nothing. Again, 0 minus 8, we're not able to do that because 0 is too small. So we're going to borrow some numbers from our tenths position. This is going to now become an 8 because we're borrowing a whole set of tenths. So this becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 8 minus 7 is 1. 9 minus 6 is 3. And 8 minus 4 is 4. So we now have our answer. We didn't do the picture example along with this one because we are going to be sticking with the math version. I just wanted to show you the picture on the first one so that you had an understanding of where the number came from. But this problem also makes sense. The answer makes sense because if you went shopping and you started with $89.90 and then you spent $46.78, we would be left with $43.12. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our algorithm, which again means set of steps. The algorithm is align the decimal points. That's the very first thing that you need to make sure that you're doing. If you do not align your decimal points, then you're not going to be subtracting the correct numbers, and so your answer will also be incorrect. Step 2, insert zeros to the right of a number if necessary. So when we had two numbers that were sort of uneven on the right-hand side, we needed to add zeros in. Both numbers must have the same number of decimal places. Regroup if necessary, and again, if you need to, you can write that regroup means borrow. So we need to borrow from the number next door if the top number is smaller than the bottom number that we're subtracting. And finally, the last step is subtract and drop your decimal point. We want to make sure that our decimal is in the same position that it was in when we set up the problem. There's one more note that I want you to add in here. We're going to subtract starting from the right. So I want you to write that in. Starting from the right. I want you to start on the right-hand side when you subtract and move over to the left. All right, these next four questions are on your own, and then you need to get them checked by the teacher. Good luck. Thank you.